15 mind-blowing facts about Mexico, the land of hidden wonders. Most people think Mexico is all beaches, tacos, and tequila. But what if I told you the biggest pyramid on Earth isn't in Egypt, it's in Mexico? That chocolate was invented here before Europe even knew what dessert was? Or that this is the only country where people throw parties for the dead, and it's beautiful, not creepy. This isn't the Mexico you see on postcards. This is the version nobody talks about. And trust me, once you know the truth, you'll never see Mexico the same way again. You think you know Mexico? Think again. Yeah, it's got beaches. Sure, it's got tacos. But if that's all you think Mexico is, then buckle up, because you've been missing everything. Let me hit you with this real quick. The biggest pyramid on the planet? Not in Egypt. It's hiding in Mexico. It's got 68 official national languages, not including local dialects. More biodiversity than the entire United States, by a long shot. And if you've ever watched color TV or taken a shot of tequila, thank Mexico. That's where both were born. But hold on, we're just warming up. Here's what makes Mexico even crazier. It borders the US, but once you cross that line, it feels like another universe. In a single trip, you can go from scorching deserts to lush jungles, climb snow-capped volcanoes, chill on white sand beaches, and then lose yourself in a neon-lit colonial town straight out of a fairy tale. And while most of us were only taught about the Aztecs in school, Mexico was home to dozens of ancient civilizations, some of them even older than the pyramids of Giza. This place is chaotic, colorful, and completely misunderstood, and that's exactly what makes it unforgettable. So, let's get into it. Here are 15 facts that prove Mexico is the land of hidden wonders. You're not ready for this. 1. The world's largest pyramid. Isn't in Egypt, it's in Mexico. You've heard of Giza, but have you heard of Cholula? Most people haven't, and that's exactly why this fact hits so hard. Because while Egypt's pyramids are famous around the world, the largest pyramid ever built by humans isn't in Africa. It's right in the middle of Mexico, and chances are you wouldn't even recognize it if you were standing on top of it. Let me explain how that's even possible. The Great Pyramid of Cholula, or Tlachihualtepetl as it was originally known, is over twice the volume of the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's not a typo. It's 4.45 million cubic meters compared to Giza's 2.5 million. But here's the kicker. Most people walk right by it and have no clue it's a pyramid. Why? Because it's covered in grass and trees and looks like a giant natural hill. Oh, and there's a Spanish church sitting right on top of it. Yep. After the Spanish conquered the region in the 1500s, they built the Iglesia de Nuestra Señora de los Remedios right on the summit, probably without even realizing they were placing it over an ancient sacred structure. Talk about historical irony. The pyramid itself dates back over 2,300 years, making it not only bigger than Giza in size, but older than most of the world's other massive monuments. And unlike the sharp stone-cut pyramids we're used to seeing, Cholula was built with adobe, sun-dried bricks made from mud and clay, so over time it just blended in with the landscape. Locals always knew there was something beneath it, but archaeologists didn't start digging until the early 1900s. That's when they discovered miles of tunnels and chambers hiding underneath. And get this, they've only excavated a small part of it. Most of the pyramid is still untouched. Today, if you visit Cholula, it looks like a sleepy town with a pretty church on a hill, but underneath your feet is the largest pyramid by volume in the world, built by one of Mexico's many pre-Hispanic civilizations, and still holding on to secrets we haven't uncovered yet. So next time someone brags about seeing the pyramids in Egypt, just smile and ask, "But have you seen the one bigger than Giza?" Because that's the kind of Mexico no one told you about. 2. Chocolate was invented in Mexico, and it was sacred. You might think of chocolate as your go-to sweet treat, but originally, chocolate wasn't sweet at all. In fact, the first chocolate drink was bitter, frothy, and sacred. So, before you pour that hot cocoa or unwrap a Hershey's bar, let me take you back to the days of the Olmecs, Maya, and Aztecs, the ancient civilizations that first made chocolate famous, and not just as a treat, but as a divine drink. For these ancient peoples, cacao beans were not just food. They were a gift from the gods. The Maya believed that the cacao tree was a gift from the gods of the underworld. The Aztecs, on the other hand, revered cacao so much that they used it as currency. Yes, you could literally buy things using cacao beans. Imagine paying for a new pair of sandals or a nice dinner with a handful of cacao. Kind of crazy, right? But it didn't stop there. The drink itself, made by mixing ground cacao beans with water, chili peppers, and sometimes vanilla, was reserved for the elite. You wouldn't find a commoner sipping on this ancient chocolate drink. No, only the rulers and priests could enjoy this bitter, spicy, sacred concoction, which they believed was a direct connection to the gods. The Aztec Emperor Montezuma II was said to drink up to 50 cups a day before his court and battles, claiming it gave him strength and vitality. So, picture this. Imagine standing in the heat of an ancient Mexican battlefield, knowing your enemies are closing in. Before the fight begins, you sip a frothy cup of cacao, bitter and thick, fueling your body and mind with divine energy. That was reality for the warriors of the Maya and Aztec empires. Now, if you've ever had a traditional Mexican hot chocolate, you might be familiar with the spicy kick it has. That's because the drink was originally made with chili peppers, not sugar, creating a bold, fiery flavor that's nothing like the sweet stuff we're used to today. And although we love the sugar-packed chocolate bars today, nothing beats the ancient chocolate that gave people power, status, and even a way to communicate with the gods. So, next time you're munching on a chocolate bar, just remember, this isn't just a candy. It's the legacy of a divine drink that was as much about power and belief as it was about flavor. 3. Mexico City is literally sinking, and it's a huge problem. You might be picturing Mexico City as the vibrant, bustling metropolis it is. But what if I told you this city is literally sinking? Yes, you heard that right. Mexico City is sinking by about 12 centimeters, almost 5 inches, every year. And no, it's not just some random geological quirk. This sinking is a massive, ongoing problem that has real-world consequences. So, how is this even possible? Well, it all comes down to the city's location. Mexico City was built on an ancient lake bed known as Lake Texcoco. For centuries, the area was a natural water reservoir, but when the Spanish arrived in the early 1500s, they drained much of the lake to make way for the rapidly growing city. Over the years, draining the lake caused the ground to become increasingly unstable. As a result, the city's buildings, roads, and infrastructure are gradually sinking into the soft, waterlogged earth beneath them. Imagine living in a city that's slowly being swallowed by the ground beneath your feet. Picture the canals of Venice or Amsterdam, two cities that also battle the sinking problem, but on a smaller scale. Mexico City, though, is on a whole other level. Unlike Venice or Amsterdam, Mexico City is sinking at a much faster rate, and the effects are already evident. In fact, some parts of Mexico City have sunk by over 10 meters, 33 feet, since the 1900s. This means that buildings and roads are cracking, streets are misaligned, and pipes and sewers are being pushed out of place. The city's water supply is also a big part of the issue. As the land sinks, it causes severe water shortages because the aquifers underneath are being over-extracted. With a rapidly growing population and increasing water demands, the city's access to clean water is becoming even more strained. And it's not just the infrastructure that's at risk. This is a serious issue for the entire city. The sinking. affects everything from the foundations of buildings to water delivery systems and even to how the city plans for future growth. Think about it. What would happen if a major city like New York or Paris started sinking by nearly half a foot every year? It would be a national crisis. Mexico City, with its over 20 million residents, is facing this crisis every single day. The solution? Well, experts say it's not easy. Reducing the sinking involves stopping the extraction of groundwater, but that's easier said than done when the city needs water to survive. So for now, it's a race against time to save this iconic city. But the clock is ticking. 4. There's a hidden world underneath Mexico, the longest underwater cave system. What if I told you there's a hidden world beneath the surface of Mexico, full of secrets so ancient they tie into Mayan mythology? Sounds like something out of an adventure movie, right? Well, it's real. Mexico is home to the longest underwater cave system in the world, Sac Actun. Located in the Yucatan Peninsula, this cave system stretches an incredible 215 miles, 347 kilometers, underground. To put that into perspective, that's like walking from New York City to almost Philadelphia, but underwater. This vast, watery labyrinth isn't just a feat of nature, though. It's also a treasure trove of history, connecting to the Mayan civilization in ways that still baffle experts today. For the Maya, caves were considered sacred places, believed to be portals to the underworld, a realm of gods, spirits, and death. The Maya didn't just use caves for shelter, they worshipped them. And Sac Actun, being one of the most complex systems ever discovered, was likely one of the holiest sites. Researchers have found evidence that it was used for rituals, ceremonies, and even sacrifices. Can you imagine stepping into a place where ancient rituals were performed, knowing that every drop of water could have held spiritual significance? But Sac Actun isn't just about history. It's also a paradise for divers, attracting those looking for an unforgettable adventure. Divers from all over the world come to explore its crystal-clear waters, diving deep into the underwater passages, where they sometimes have to navigate through tight spaces and swim under towering stalactites. Some of these caves are so vast that they feel like you've entered another world entirely, dark, serene, and filled with mystery. However, there's a problem. As amazing as this cave system is, it's under threat. The increasing number of tourists coming to explore this natural wonder brings concerns about cultural preservation. The cave is fragile, and the more people dive into its waters, the greater the risk of damaging these sacred sites. But here's the real kicker. What did researchers find inside these hidden depths? Wait until you hear what they uncovered. Something so shocking that it could rewrite our understanding of ancient civilizations. Stay tuned for fact number 5. It's just as mind-blowing. 5. Mexico is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. Did you know that Mexico ranks as one of the top 5 most biodiverse countries on the planet? It's true, but here's the mind-blowing part. This country, which you might think of, in terms of tacos and tequila, is home to over 200,000 different species of plants and animals. That's more than most countries on Earth. And it's not just your basic wildlife we're talking about. Mexico is home to jaguars, gray whales, and endangered orchids that only bloom in one place on Earth. What makes Mexico such a biodiversity hotspot? It's the geography. From the towering mountains of the Sierra Madre to the coastal rainforests, from arid deserts to lush jungles, Mexico has it all. These varied landscapes create the perfect habitats for species to thrive in. Let's take a look at the jaguar, for example. These majestic cats, once thought to be native to Africa, roam freely in Mexico's dense tropical forests. And then there's the gray whale, which migrates thousands of miles every year to breed in Mexico's warm coastal waters. If you're ever lucky enough to witness one of these gentle giants up close, it's an experience you won't forget. And that's just scratching the surface. Mexico is also home to some of the most rare and unique plant species in the world. Orchids, for example, thrive in the humid environment of the jungles, with some species so rare that they've become a symbol of Mexico's natural wonders. Imagine walking through a jungle, and all around you, beautiful flowers bloom in the wild, each one more rare and exotic than the last. This is Mexico's secret, a place where nature shows off like no other. So why does this biodiversity matter? It's because Mexico's ecosystems are at the heart of the planet's health. The lush jungles and vibrant coral reefs play a key role in regulating our climate and helping our planet breathe. Sadly, the country's stunning biodiversity is under threat, mainly due to deforestation, climate change, and illegal wildlife trafficking. But there's hope. Many conservation programs are working to protect and preserve these species for future generations. Mexico's biodiversity is more than just a fun fact. It's an essential part of the global ecosystem. Stay tuned to discover more about this country's hidden wonders. We've only just scratched the surface. 6. Tequila and mezcal aren't the same, and Mexico takes it seriously. Alright, you might think you know tequila and mezcal, but trust me, Mexico is about to set you straight. These two iconic drinks are often confused, but they couldn't be more different. In fact, Mexico takes this debate seriously. So, let's break it down, shall we? First, the main difference starts with the agave plant. Tequila is made exclusively from blue agave, which is grown in the Jalisco region of Mexico. The process involves steaming the agave hearts, known as piñas, then fermenting and distilling them. The result is that signature, crisp, and smooth taste we associate with tequila. On the other hand, mezcal can be made from multiple varieties of agave, around 30 different types in fact. The big difference lies in the smokiness. Mezcal is made by roasting the agave hearts in underground pits, giving it a deep, smoky flavor that tequila just can't match. It's the kind of drink that's bold and has a real punch to it, perfect for those who love a drink with a bit of an edge. Now, you might be wondering, why do Mexicans care so much about the distinction? Well, it's all about tradition. The culture surrounding tequila and mezcal goes far beyond just having a drink at a party. There are rituals, ceremonies, and even offering rituals where the drink is shared among friends and family to celebrate life and the bonds between them. Let's take a quick look at how you drink these spirits. Tequila is often sipped neat, especially if it's high quality. But when it comes to mezcal, there's a more ceremonial feel to it. You'll often find it served with orange slices and sal de gusano. That's a special salt made with worms from the agave plant. It might sound strange, but trust me, it's delicious. But here's where it gets funny. If you drink mezcal wrong in Mexico, like taking a shot of it too quickly or not respecting the process, Mexicans will look at you like you just microwaved pizza. It's a serious social faux pas, and you can bet you'll get some strange stares for not following the proper mezcal etiquette. So, next time you're at a bar, remember this. Tequila is for smooth, sophisticated sipping, and mezcal is for those who like their drinks a little more daring and smoky. And whatever you do, don't disrespect the rituals. Mexicans will make sure you know you've done it wrong. 7. This country speaks 68 official languages. Yes, 68. When you think of Mexico, you probably think of Spanish, and you'd be right. But what if I told you that Spanish is just one of 68 official languages spoken across the country? Yes, you read that correctly. 68. And this isn't just a fun fact to drop at a dinner party. It's a reflection of Mexico's rich, diverse heritage. Now, let's break it down. While Spanish is the dominant language, there are 63 indigenous languages officially recognized. The two most well-known are Nahuatl and the Maya languages. But these represent just a fraction of the linguistic diversity in Mexico. From Zapotec to Mixtec, Mixe to Otomi, these languages have been spoken for centuries and continue to be spoken by millions of people today. Some of these languages have been around long before Spanish ever set foot in Mexico. Why does this matter? It's a matter of cultural pride and identity. Language is tied to the history of a people, and the survival of these languages reflects the resilience of Mexico's indigenous communities. But let's not sugarcoat it. Language preservation is a huge challenge. Many of these languages are at risk of disappearing. With the rise of Spanish and the dominance of global languages, indigenous languages are slowly fading, and with them, centuries of history and wisdom. Here's where it gets interesting. Mexico is one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world. While countries like the United States or England might pride themselves on being largely monolingual, Mexico is a land where over 25 million people speak languages that aren't Spanish. That's a massive contrast to countries where you'll be lucky to hear even one other language spoken outside of the native tongue. But there's more to it than just being a fun fact. The government of Mexico has made it a priority to preserve and protect these languages, working alongside indigenous communities to revitalize these languages and ensure future generations continue to speak them. Schools in indigenous regions often teach in both Spanish and the native language, allowing younger generations to stay connected to their cultural roots while participating in the wider world. So, when you visit Mexico, you're not just hearing Spanish. You're stepping into a world where dozens of languages are being spoken, each with its own unique history and sound. It's a living testament to the country's diversity and the strength of its indigenous cultures. 8. One of the new 7 wonders of the world. Lives here, and it's built like a calendar, Chichen Itza. It's a name that might ring a bell, but let me tell you, this ancient site is more than just a pyramid in the jungle. It's a masterpiece of ancient engineering that continues to baffle modern minds. And the craziest part? It was designed like a giant calendar. Yes, you heard that right. Chichen Itza was built with 365 steps, each one representing a day of the year. Now, why would they do that? Well, these ancient Maya were obsessed with the stars, the moon, and the sun, and they understood time in a way we can't even begin to imagine. The pyramid was designed to be a visual calendar that helped them track the cycles of nature and guide their agricultural activities. Here's where it gets even crazier. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, something magical happens at Chichen Itza. The sunlight casts a shadow on the pyramid that looks like a giant serpent slithering down the steps. It's almost as if the pyramid itself is alive, breathing with the rhythm of the seasons. This stunning visual effect was designed to honor Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god of the Maya. But the mind-blowing part isn't just the equinox shadow. The entire structure was engineered to echo sound in a way that would make any modern architect jealous. When you clap your hands at the base of the pyramid, the sound travels up the steps and comes back as a high-pitched echo that mimics the sound of a quetzal bird, a sacred bird for the Maya. This is no accident. It was all part of their advanced understanding of acoustics. So, why does it still blow minds today? Because Chichen Itza isn't just a pyramid. It's a timeless symbol of the Maya's incredible knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and architecture. Despite being built over 1,500 years ago, it still stands as one of the new 7 wonders of the world, a living testament to a civilization's ingenuity. When you stand in front of it, you realize this is a place where time itself was carved into stone, and the Maya's connection to the cosmos is still as powerful today as it was back then. 9. Mexican food isn't just tacos, it's UNESCO heritage. When you think of Mexican food, tacos are probably the first thing that comes to mind. But here's the truth. Mexican cuisine is so much more than just tacos, and it's been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. That's right, Mexican food isn't just delicious, it's a cultural treasure that the world has agreed deserves to be protected. Let's talk about mole, one of Mexico's most iconic dishes. Made From a blend of chili peppers, chocolate, and spices, mole is a rich, complex sauce that's often served over chicken or turkey. This dish, especially famous in places like Puebla, is a symbol of the blending of indigenous and Spanish influences over centuries. The recipe for mole has been passed down through generations, and each family has their own secret twist on it. It's not just food, it's a piece of history served on a plate. Then there's tamales, soft corn dough wrapped in corn husks and filled with a variety of fillings like meat, cheese, or beans. Tamales are made for special occasions, and the process of making them is a social event. Families gather, sometimes for hours, to prepare dozens of tamales together, sharing stories and bonding over food. It's a ritual, not just a meal. And how could we forget pozole, a hearty soup made with hominy, dried corn kernels treated with alkali, meat, and seasonings. Pozole is often enjoyed during major celebrations like New Year's Eve or Independence Day. It's more than just a dish. It's a way to bring people together and celebrate community. But what really makes Mexican cuisine so special is its regional diversity. For example, in Oaxaca, known as the Land of Seven Moles, you'll find everything from mole negro to mole rojo, each with its own distinct flavors and methods of preparation. In contrast, the Yucatan Peninsula offers dishes like cochinita pibil, a slow-cooked pork dish marinated in achiote and wrapped in banana leaves. These regional variations show that Mexican food is as diverse as the country itself. Every region has its own story, its own flavors, and its own identity. At the heart of it all, food in Mexico is a deeply emotional experience. It's tied to family, to tradition, to memory. For Mexicans, food is more than sustenance. It's an expression of who they are. Each meal tells a story, a connection to the past, and a celebration of community. When you sit down to enjoy Mexican food, you're not just eating. You're taking part in something sacred, something that has been passed down through the ages. And that's why Mexican cuisine has earned its place as a UNESCO World Heritage. It's not just food, it's a living culture. 10. Monarch butterflies migrate 3,000 miles to Mexico. Every year, something magical happens in Mexico. Millions of monarch butterflies travel over 3,000 miles to a small region in Michoacan. These delicate creatures embark on one of the longest migrations in the animal kingdom, and they do it all without a map or GPS. It's a journey so impressive that it's become a symbol of endurance and rebirth. The monarch butterfly's migration isn't just a spectacle, it's a life or death journey. Starting in Canada and the northern US, they travel south through various obstacles, often battling against the harsh winds and fluctuating temperatures. They arrive at their wintering grounds in the forests of Michoacan, where they cluster on trees by the millions, creating a stunning sight, a sea of orange wings. The trees become completely coated in butterflies, turning the landscape into something out of a dream. But this migration isn't without challenges. The monarch butterfly is an endangered species. Over the years, their migration has faced significant threats. Deforestation, climate change, and pesticides have all contributed to a sharp decline in their numbers. The forests where they overwinter are slowly disappearing, and without these safe havens, the butterflies face the threat of extinction. This migration also serves as a powerful metaphor for human life. Just as the monarchs endure incredible challenges to reach their destination, we too face struggles and obstacles on our paths. But just as the butterflies find renewal when they arrive in Mexico, we too can experience rebirth and renewal after overcoming adversity. In many ways, the monarch butterfly is a symbol of resilience. It's a reminder that despite the hardships we face, there's always hope at the end of the journey. Their migration is a beautiful dance of life, one that celebrates the strength of endurance, the necessity of preservation, and the fragility of life itself. So, next time you think about the butterfly's journey, remember, it's not just about the miles they travel. It's about the journey of transformation, one that connects us all, no matter where we come from. 11. A Mexican invented color television. Yes, really. You've probably never heard of Guillermo González Camarena, but you should. This Mexican genius is the reason you're watching color TV right now. That's right, color television, something we take for granted today, was invented by a Mexican back in 1940. Here's the timeline. In 1940, Camarena, a young engineer, created the first color television transmission system. While the world was still glued to black and white screens, Camarena was pioneering a technology that would change how we experienced entertainment forever. By 1946, he had developed the color transmission system that was patented in the United States and several other countries. His system wasn't just a small step, it laid the foundation for everything that would come afterward, what we see on our screens today. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the historical significance of this. While we often associate groundbreaking tech with places like Silicon Valley or Tokyo, it turns out that Mexico had one of the earliest innovators in the field of television technology. Camarena's work didn't just revolutionize TV, it marked Mexico as a significant player in the global technological race. His contribution was so influential that by 1960, his invention was being used for broadcasting on color TVs in Mexico, and eventually across the world. The real kicker here is that Camarena's legacy is often overlooked in favor of the more celebrated American innovators of the time. But Mexico's role in shaping the entertainment we now enjoy is no less monumental. Imagine if we hadn't had Camarena's work. What would TV be like today? It's easy to assume that some of the most iconic inventions come from Silicon Valley or Europe. But Mexico's contributions are not only impressive, but also a matter of pride for the nation. So next time you're flipping through channels, just remember, it was a Mexican inventor who made it all possible. Not bad for a country. That's often overlooked in tech history, right? 12. This weird-looking salamander can regrow its body parts and only lives in Mexico. Have you ever wished you could regrow a limb? Well, there's a creature in Mexico that can do just that. Meet the axolotl, a salamander that might just be the Deadpool of the animal kingdom. This creature, with its fuzzy, feather-like gills and permanent baby face, has the superpower of regenerating limbs, spinal cords, and even parts of its heart. Yes, you read that right. It can regrow its body parts. If only we could do the same. After a long day of hiking or a bad haircut, right? The axolotl only lives in one place in the world, the Xochimilco canals of Mexico City. These ancient canals, which once stretched all over the city, are now home to this extraordinary species. But here's the catch. The axolotl isn't just a freak of nature. It's endangered, and its habitat is shrinking due to pollution, urban development, and invasive species. Scientists, however, are fascinated by the axolotl's ability to regenerate. It's been a goldmine for scientific research, especially when it comes to studying regenerative medicine. Researchers believe that if we can unlock the secret behind the axolotl's incredible healing powers, it could eventually lead to breakthroughs in healing human injuries and even growing back lost organs. The axolotl might be a quirky little creature, but its superpower could help save lives someday. But let's not forget the real magic here. The axolotl's appearance. With its bright pink body, adorable smile, and silly, fringe-like gills, it looks more like a creature straight out of a Pixar movie than a real-life animal. So, next time you need a little inspiration for your costume party, just remember, this little salamander might not be able to shoot lasers from its eyes, but it can grow back a limb or two. And that's pretty darn cool, and for those of you thinking of visiting Mexico City, you might want to check out Xochimilco, but just remember, don't get too close. Axolotls don't take kindly to uninvited guests. 13. The lakes that are naturally bubblegum. Pink ever seen a bubblegum pink lake? Well, you can in Mexico. Welcome to Las Coloradas, a stunningly unique set of lakes in Yucatan that will make your Instagram followers do a double take. These lakes have a vibrant pink hue that looks like something out of a dream, or a high-fashion photo shoot. But the real question is, what causes this bizarre color? The secret lies in the algae and brine shrimp that call these lakes home. The algae, known as Dunaliella salina, thrives in the salty waters, producing a reddish pigment that turns the water that unmistakable pink shade. The brine shrimp, tiny creatures that live in the lake, also play a role in the color. It's nature's very own color palette, and trust me, you can't find anything like it anywhere else in the world. Now, before you start booking your ticket and packing your swimsuit, here's something you need to know. No swimming allowed. Yes, I know it's tempting to wade in and pretend you're the star of a surreal music video, but these lakes aren't your average vacation spot. The high salt concentration and the delicate balance of the ecosystem mean that swimming could disrupt the fragile environment, so they're off limits to visitors. But here's the thing. Even if you can't dip your toes in, Las Coloradas is still breathtakingly beautiful. The lakes sit in a remote area surrounded by vast salt flats, giving you that otherworldly vibe you see in movies. The contrast between the bright pink water and the stark, dry landscape around it is absolutely mind-blowing. You can take in the stunning sights and snap as many photos as you want, but always keep in mind, it's all about preserving the beauty. Instagram versus environmental preservation. This is one of those places where the magic of the moment is more important than catching a cute selfie. Keep that in mind, and you'll enjoy this surreal landscape even more. But let's be real, pink lakes this striking don't come around every day. So, get your camera ready, but maybe leave the swimming. Trunks at home. 14. Day of the Dead is not Mexico's Halloween. You might think Dia de los Muertos is just Mexico's version of Halloween, but trust me, it's so much more than that. It's a celebration of life, not fear, and its roots go much deeper than dressing up and trick-or-treating. In fact, this iconic tradition is one of the most emotional and meaningful observances in the world. First things first, Dia de los Muertos is not about celebrating death, it's about honoring those who have passed. It's a beautiful, heartfelt way of keeping the connection between the living and the dead. Families gather to build altars, called ofrendas, at home, decorated with marigolds, candles, and the favorite foods of their departed loved ones. Yule. See sugar skulls, too, intricately decorated to reflect both the joy and sorrow of life's fleeting nature. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this like Halloween? Well, not really. Sure, both involve a bit of spooky imagery, but there's a huge difference. Halloween is often about fear, ghosts, ghouls, and all that fun, frightful stuff. But Dia de los Muertos is about love, remembrance, and the continuity of life. It's not about scaring people. It's about celebrating the lives of those who have gone before us and keeping their memories alive in a way that is joyful, not somber. The colors, the music, the food. It's all a vibrant celebration of the cycle of life. In fact, there's even a belief that on the first 2 days of November, the spirits of the dead return to visit their families. That's why families prepare food, drinks, and personal items for their dearly departed. It's a time for reunion, not a time for mourning. So when you see the marigold-covered altars or skulls made of sugar, understand that it's a sign of deep reverence and love for those who have passed. And it's not just a day. It's a 3-day event that brings families together, keeping the memories of the deceased alive in the most colorful and heartwarming way. Dia de los Muertos isn't about fear. It's about connection and celebration. And there's no better example of how Mexicans honor the past while embracing the future. And no, you can't just wear a mask and call it a day. This tradition is built on genuine emotion and remembrance. 15. Mexico drinks more Coca-Cola than any other country. Mexico is officially the Coca-Cola capital of the world. Yes, you read that right. Mexicans consume more Coca-Cola per capita than anywhere else on Earth, an astonishing 600+ bottles per person annually. If that sounds excessive, well, it's not just the occasional sugary treat. It's a national obsession. Imagine this. Every day, you'll find Coca-Cola served alongside nearly every meal, from tacos to tamales, and sometimes even as a side to breakfast. It's not just a drink, it's deeply embedded in the culture. In fact, in many regions, Coca-Cola is considered a symbol of hospitality, and it's common for families to offer a cold bottle to guests as a gesture of welcome. But as you might guess, this obsession with soda comes with some serious health consequences. Mexico has one of the highest rates of obesity and diabetes in the world, and the consumption of sugary drinks like Coca-Cola plays a significant role. The country spends billions on healthcare related to these diseases, and it's a growing crisis that's hard to ignore. Yet, even as health problems soar, Coca-Cola remains a powerful force in the Mexican economy. The beverage giant has multiple production plants in Mexico, especially in Chiapas, a region known for its sugar production. It's not just the drink itself that's flooding the market, it's also the jobs and infrastructure built around it. In fact, the beverage is so ingrained in everyday life that it's become more than a brand. It's a fixture of daily existence. Here's the ironic twist. While Coca-Cola has an almost unlimited supply in the country, Mexico is facing a severe water crisis in many regions. In places like Chiapas, water resources are in short supply, yet Coca-Cola's factories extract millions of liters of water each day to produce their products. This has sparked controversy and protest over the environmental impact and the disparity between a soda surplus and a water shortage. It's almost as if the country is drinking away its future, trading essential resources for something that's more about habit than necessity. So, the next time you reach for that bottle of Coke, just remember, Mexico drinks more Coca-Cola than any other country in the world, but behind that fizzy drink is a much deeper issue. A love affair with soda that's costing the country more than it realizes. So now you know, Mexico isn't just a tourist stop. It's a living museum, a cultural powerhouse, and one of the most fascinating countries on Earth. From ancient pyramids to vibrant traditions, from mouth-watering food to cutting-edge innovations, Mexico has layers of history, beauty, and contradictions that most people don't even realize. It's not just a place, it's an experience, one that continuously challenges expectations and defies stereotypes. It's a country that laughs through hardship, that celebrates the dead, and that turns every street into a festival. Mexico's resilience, creativity, and ability to embrace both the past and future is what makes it truly unique. Whether it's through their passion for food, their connection to nature, or their ever-present celebrations, the people of Mexico have found ways to make life extraordinary despite the challenges they face. But here's the thing. Mexico is so much more than what you see on a postcard. It's not just about tacos and beaches, though those are awesome. It's a country woven with stories, struggles, and celebrations that will reshape how you see the world. Every corner holds a surprise, every tradition tells a story, and every person carries a piece of a vast and dynamic culture that's been thriving for thousands of years. It's a reminder that some of the most mind-blowing places on Earth aren't always the ones that make the headlines. And this is where I'm going to leave you with something to think about. Mexico isn't just a vacation destination. It's a country full of untold stories, hidden gems, and lessons for the rest of the world. From its incredible biodiversity to its cultural diversity, there's so much more to learn, experience, and appreciate. Now, here's where I need your help. If this blew your mind as much as it did mine, send this to someone who still thinks Mexico is just about margaritas. Let them know there's a whole universe of culture hiding right next door, and it's time they see it for what it really is, a land of wonder, mystery, and beauty. Trust me, once they get a glimpse, they'll be hooked just like you are. Don't just keep this knowledge to yourself, share it. Let's break the myths, open up minds, and start seeing the real Mexico, the one that's truly worth knowing.